if you want to use a cushion, bolsters, pillows, just settling down on the side of the body. And then if you feel okay to, just closing out the eyes. So just coming back to a really nice comfy place, almost like you're in bed, just savouring this little bit of relaxation. And then with the eyes closed, just starting to notice how your body feels this morning. So does it feel quite nice to just rest? Or are you kind of raring to go for a little bit of movement? Are there any parts of your body that you feel that you're kind of holding on to or tensing in any way that you can just soften? And can you sense your body as a whole? So the whole of the body lying down, or are you more drawn to kind of picking out little parts of the body? So these are just questions. There's no right or wrong in however you look at this. And as you take the next couple of exhales, can you just soften a little bit more? So it could be big exhales if that feels right. And knowing that you can come back to this space at any time. So even if you wanted to spend the whole of your practice just kind of lying on your side listening, just opting to join in at little parts, and that's fine. So remembering it's your practice this morning, doing what you feel is right for you. Let's just gently roll over onto the back of the body, find our reclined butterfly position. So opening out the legs, bringing the soles of the feet together. And then taking the attention, you might even take the hands down, just a couple of finger widths below the belly button. So down to what we call Svadhisthana, or our sacral chakra. So our second energy center, or second of the main energy centers anyway. And a home for creativity, the sensuality, the desire, the element of water. So this energy of kind of going with the flow a little bit, exploring, not being too stuck or too stagnant in life or maybe in our practice. And working into the hips, the groin, lower areas of the body. So I'm going to be thinking a little bit about that area, that energy today. And the colour is orange, so it can sometimes help to kind of visualise an orange glow. And maybe as we work through our practice, you take your attention there. So once we're finding our shapes, you kind of feel what it feels like there. Just gently roll back onto the side of the body. And pushing ourselves up. Let's find a comfortable seated position. So Sukhasana, if that works for you, just crossing, excuse me, the ankles. Sitting on a block or a prop if you need that little bit of length and tilt forward, and closing the eyes here. So let's take a moment to just connect with the breath. So of course, Svadhisthana offers us this flow in movement, but a flow in breath as well. So softening through the face and the shoulders. Having an element of softness to the belly as well. So if you really feel like you're kind of tensing and holding your belly in, just letting that soften. And to help us connect with the breath, we're just going to count down with the breath. So we're going to start at 6 and go all the way down to 1. And we're going to count like this as you inhale, just saying 6 in the mind. As you exhale, 6. As you inhale, 5. And exhale for 5. And just continuing that down to 1 in your own count. And then releasing any count of breath, but knowing that your breath is there. So knowing at any point, again, you know, if you feel like, oh, I've just lost my place in my practice, maybe you could sit down or lie down, just return to that count of breath. So bringing yourself back into the present moment. Just gently open the eyes, bring the hands onto the knees or thighs and take some circles here. So coming forwards, over to the side, back, pushing the spine away a little bit. You might start really slowly, or even noticing, you know, it's interesting to notice sometimes if we like a slower style of movement or if we're drawn to going really fast. Just switching directions with these circles. So you might go low and really far back. So thinking about just exploring, about flowing, not, you know, like, oh gosh, what do I look like? Who cares? And then coming all the way back to center, just finding your way then onto hands and knees. So whether that's to roll over your knees or to drop to the side. Coming to meet in an all fours position. So spreading the fingers enough that you can feel there's a strength through the hands. Thumbs will kind of point in a little bit towards each other. Shoulders over the wrists, or you could have your shoulders a little bit behind if that's too intense for the wrists. And hips and knees in line. Let's take a couple of cat and cow. So this is really nice for the pelvis and Shavasana as well. As we inhale, we're dropping the belly down, pressing through the hands, draw the shoulders back, chest comes forwards a little bit. As we exhale, push through the hands to roll the spine up towards the sky, chin comes to chest. Inhale, just letting this softness happen through the belly. And as we exhale, a bit of activeness through the belly, so this draw in and up. We're going to take one more like that, inhale. And exhale. And then inhaling back to neutral. So neutral is active here. The gaze is forward slightly. So rather than being a heavy head, we've got an activeness through the head and neck. We're drawing the belly button into the low back. So feeling that the core of the body starts to work. Tucking onto the toes, push the seat back to the heels, keep the hands where they are. If we flared out with the heels, we just draw the heels back to center, really press into the toes. So feel that strength through the feet. Gently lift the knees. And as we exhale, push the seat up nice and high. So stepping the feet to hip distance. And then stepping them out a little bit wider. So you could go to the edge of the mat if you feel that that works for you. Soften the knees if that works. And then take the focus to pushing the bum up nice and high. So lengthening through the spine. You can have a little bit of movement here. So again, let's encourage ourselves to kind of be like fluid. You know, if we feel like, oh, I just need to move that out in some way, it doesn't have to be specific. Let's not care, you know, if it kind of looks really cool or whatever, just go with whatever your body feels like. Then let's step the feet back to more of a hip distance apart. Take an inhale as you start to move the body forward, shoulders come towards the wrists. As you exhale, drop the left knee down and step the right foot through. So we're coming into our lunge position. Let's bring both hands inside that right foot. Just take the right foot over to the right edge of the mat, still keeping knee over ankle. Depending how your left leg feels, you might slide that left knee back a little bit. You might put a towel underneath it or a mat. And then let's take a little bit of movement here. So as we inhale, just letting your body drift forward slightly. So the knee might come over that front ankle. As you exhale, a little bit of extension maybe. So inhaling, using blocks under the hands if you need that little bit of lift. Just letting the pelvis sink forwards a little bit. If it feels nice, just stay there. As you exhale, extending through that right leg. You could lift the right toes away from the earth if that's in your practice. So use your own breath. Let's just take a couple like this. So just allowing your body to take the lead, like we're not pushing. We're just gently exploring what's happening on that right side. Let's then bring the body back to a neutral position. Toes face forwards. Press down through that right foot. And as you inhale, lift into your lunge position. So you've got a bit more space between the groin and the hips here. So softening the shoulders. If it feels nicer for you, just gaze forward and drop the hands down onto that thigh. So maybe it's just about the legs a little bit today. Returning to that flow of breath. Heavy press down in that right foot. Take an inhale, reach tall if you've lifted the arms. As you exhale, bringing the hands down inside that foot once more. Let's tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, push that heel away a little bit. So we're finding ourselves in a runner's lunge. Then turn that left foot completely down onto the ground, keeping the right knee bent. So in some classes, which I'm not saying is wrong, or you may come heel to heel in your warrior two. So maybe now's a bit of a time to experiment. So for me, heel to heel doesn't work. So I've got a bit of a wider stance, but see what you feel like. As we inhale, let's sweep the right fingertips forwards and take the right fingertips back. Then settle down into your warrior two position. And we'll have a little bit of movement here, so we don't need to just be like, boop, warrior two, done. So let's inhale, just raise the hands, lengthen through that right leg. As we exhale, come back to warrior two, arms out. Inhale, sweeping upwards. Exhale, settling back down. Inhale. And exhale. Let's settle here if we can, but you're free to still have a little bit of movement. Just drawing then that right knee out to the right hand side. So here's where we're trying to focus on opening out through the hips and the groin. If you just want to focus on the legs, bring the hands onto the hips, gaze down the right fingertips or just over to the right hand side. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Let's take that into reverse then. So placing left hand on hip or waist, flip the right palm up towards the sky. As we inhale, lean forward, keep that bend in the right knee. As you exhale, just sweeping the right fingertips upwards. If you know a variation of your reverse warrior with that left hand, then feel free to go there. Keep that bend in the right knee, keep the right knee open to the baby toe side. Let's take it the opposite way to our side angle. So inhale, and as you exhale, slowly with the chest open, drop that right arm down onto the right thigh. Left hand could be on hip and just turning and opening, or you could reach the fingertips up to the sky, or even reach up and over, but more so focus on keeping the chest and heart open. Pressing down in that right foot. If you feel like the press of the right arm is really heavy, maybe challenge yourself to just lift that right arm away slightly. Wherever you are, taking an inhale, coming all the way back up to warrior two. As we exhale, just sinking down into that right knee. Then inhale, lengthen through the legs, turn the toes in. Hands on the hips, take an exhale. Wide leg forward fold. So taking your stance as far or not as you feel is good for you. So further you go, the more kind of space you've got to come to the earth. Turn the toes in, slightly take an inhale, draw the shoulder blades together, lift the heart space up. As you exhale, literally push the seat away, soften the knees if you need to. Come to a halfway position. So the spine is long, the head is active. And then take an inhale, slight bit of a gaze forwards. As you exhale, if it's part of your journey, releasing the fingers down onto blocks, to the earth. So, you know, your blocks could be on their highest level. Trying to keep that spine long, so it's literally like we're pushing the bum up towards the sky. Really soften into the knees if you feel that your kneecaps are pushing backwards. Just breathe in there. If you know a variation that you really enjoy there, then just taking that time to work with your variation. One more deep breath here. So real nice opening to the lower body. As you inhale, lifting up onto the tips of the fingers, soften the knees if you need to. As we exhale, just slowly be guided back to the top of the mat by the body. So we're coming into our runner's lunge position. Soften the shoulders down the back. Just gazing down but slightly ahead. Push that back heel to the earth. If you need to, you could of course drop that back knee if it feels a little bit too active. Then plant the hands down, shoulders over wrists if you can. Step that foot back. Let's find a downward facing dog. So stretching out through the backs of the legs, pushing the seat high. And as you inhale, start to move the body forwards here. So we're coming to a plank. But as we exhale, just softly drop the knees, the tops of the feet, bend the elbows in towards you and find an upward dog. If that's too heavy for the spine, lower down slightly. If you feel like it works for you, tuck the toes, push the body forwards and lift the knees away from the earth. Let's tuck the toes, push back into a downward facing dog. So we're going to take two more like that. Just inhale, slow process to come forward. You don't have to drop the knees, or you can. As you exhale, we're pushing the hips forwards, softening into the elbows. Take an inhale. As you exhale, pushing back to find downward facing dog. So make it your own. See how the lower back feels. The last one here, inhale. As you exhale, coming down. Inhale, taking that a little bit of lift. You could be in low cobra. And then as you exhale, tuck in the toes, push the seat back towards the heels. Let's spread the knees, slide the toes to touch. Walk back, just create that nice space in between the legs here. So thinking of our sacral chakra. Take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, keep that little push back with the seat to the heels, but gently bring yourself to the earth. So if you need to, grab a bolster, a cushion, a block. Just resting the head down, closing the eyes. And we're going to take 2 minutes here. So again, if you have a preference of something that you do in child's pose that really feels quite nice for you, then do that. And notice where the focus and attention goes. So are you drawn away from your practice quite easily? If so, that's okay. Are you drawn to a part of your physical body? Any part? Maybe you're drawn to your breath. And however you're breathing is fine. So I would recommend in through the nose, but you could breathe out through nose or mouth. Or maybe you are drawn down to that place just a little bit below the belly button, Svadhisthana. Maybe you're focusing on that orange energy there. We're taking another minute here, just maintaining your presence. Last few breaths where we are, just enjoying that stillness. And then nice and slowly, let's bring ourselves back into our tabletop position. So just lifting the front of the body forwards, setting up the hands, the knees, relaxing the tops of the feet down. Finding that strength in tabletop, that draw of the belly button to low back, then go through a couple of rounds of cat and cow again. So as we inhale, just letting the belly drop down, press through the hands, lift the heart space. As we exhale, still that push through the hands, rounding the spine up to the sky, chin to chest, head is heavy. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, just back to neutral. Keeping that strength through the body, tuck the toes onto the mat, hands where they are, push the seat back to the heels. Again, let's strengthen up through the feet as well, so just padding towards the balls of the feet, turning the inner heels forwards. Lift the knees, then as you exhale, push the seat high. Let's step the feet out a little bit wider, maybe to mat distance. Really feel, so maybe that creates more space for you to lengthen through the spine. Head is heavy, protecting the neck. Having any kind of movement you feel like here. So even don't overthink it, you know. Then let's start to step the feet back to a hip distance. Just taking a couple of deep breaths here. Then inhaling, starting to move the body forwards. As you exhale, we're dropping down with that right knee. We're stepping that left foot through. So we're finding our low lunge position. Slide back into that right knee. If there's space, relax the foot and just heel toe that left foot over to the edge of the mat. So again, you might use blocks. Nice and slowly, just inhaling, coming forwards. And exhale, traveling backwards, as much or as little as your body is inviting you to do this morning. You might even close the eyes, so making it more about the experience than it is about the shape we're making. If it feels nice to linger either forwards or backwards for you, then not pushing it, but just taking a couple of breaths. And then coming back to a neutral position. So the hips are turned forwards, the left toes are turned forward. We're pressing down through that left foot. As you inhale, guiding yourself up into your low lunge position. Perhaps you're having the hands down onto the thigh, just softening the shoulders. Gazing forwards. You might even lift the gaze upwards. Let's take an inhale, reaching the body up high wherever we are. As we exhale, planting the hands back down inside that foot. Tuck onto the back toes, so the right toes, lift that knee. So we're in a long lunge position as we turn the right foot down onto the earth. Again, you could always play with just stepping backwards. So what does it feel like to have heels in line? For me, not comfortable, but for you, it might work. And then as we inhale, starting to lift the arms all the way up. As we exhale, settling into our warrior two position. And we'll find a little bit of movement there to help us settle. So softening through the shoulders. As we inhale, reaching up with the body, you could look up. As you exhale, taking that knee, bending it out to the left-hand side. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale, just settling down. So keeping the body nice and tall. Pressing down into the feet, opening that knee out to the little toe side. Hands to the hips if you'd rather just focus on lower body. Hips are nice and forwards as best as you can towards the long length of the mat. Gazing down that left side. Finding steady breath. Let's take the right hand down onto our right hip or waist. Reach the left hand forward, flip the palm up towards the sky. Reverse warrior as we inhale, bend that left knee, keep it bent. As we exhale, lifting the fingertips up. So we're creating this real nice length through the left side of the body. Compression through the right. Any variation that you know there, you can always take that. And then an inhale as we exhale, coming down into our side angle. Rest that left arm down. Turn and open that right shoulder and the right side of the body. Then perhaps as you inhale, lifting the right hand. As you exhale, you could reach it up and over if that's your shape for your side angle. Trying to gaze outwards here, so that'll just encourage this opening of the chest. If we feel like we're pressing really hard with that left arm down into left thigh, maybe just lifting away slightly. So it's quite powerful for the legs, this sequence. Wherever we are, let's take an inhale, come back up. As we exhale, just sinking into warrior two only for a moment. Then an inhale, lengthen through that left leg, hands on hips. Turn the toes forwards as we exhale. And then we're going to turn the toes out and the heels in to prepare for our goddess position. So we're keeping the tailbone, the very low part of the spine, rounded under if we can, kind of pushing the pubic area forward. Let's bring the hands into a prayer. As we inhale, reach that prayer up, look to the thumbs. As we exhale, bend the knees and the elbows, finding goddess. Inhale, reaching up, perhaps look to the thumbs, lengthen the legs. Exhale, bending into our goddess. One more like that, inhale. And exhale. Just holding it there. And here you might even want to have a sway as well. So if it doesn't feel right this morning to just be in that static position, maybe just having a sway from side to side. You can lift the heels. So anything that feels nice for you. Then let's take an inhale, reach up tall. As we exhale, take the hands down onto the hips, turn the toes forwards to find our second wide leg forward fold. So setting yourself up here. Steady through the feet, strength through the knees. Just gazing forwards, taking a couple of breaths. And then inhaling, draw the shoulders together, lift the heart space. Exhale, pushing that seat away. Coming down to your flat back position and knowing that you can stay there. So perhaps just engaging through the body there, or taking an inhale, glancing forwards. As you exhale, nice long spine, just releasing down to the earth. Use any props that you need to. They could be high, they could be low. So I'm just resting my elbows on my blocks. And then maybe the head becomes more heavy here. So the crown of the head journeying towards the earth. If you feel a bit dizzy, you're welcome to just lift the gaze forwards again. So if this kind of inversion position is just a bit much this morning, which can happen, or if you've got any blood pressure issues, starting to prepare to move ourselves away from this. So as we inhale, lifting onto the tips of the fingers. Soften the knees if you need to. As you exhale, walking round to the top of the mat. So again, we're just finding ourselves in that strong lunge position, runner's lunge. Let's plant the hands down, step that front foot back to a downward facing dog. Then this time as we inhale, lifting the body up and forward so shoulders come towards the wrists. As you exhale, step the toes to the backs of the wrists. So feet could be hip distance, or you could take them a little bit wider to the edges of the mat. Take a little mini inhale, a lift and look upwards. Then as you exhale, Uttanasana, your forward fold position. So soften knees if you need to. Belly just resting down towards the thighs, head is heavy. If that doesn't work for you, find a halfway lift. So just a little bit of a look forward. Hands could be on the blocks, or maybe just resting the arms onto the thighs. Just steady breathing there. If you're in your forward fold with the head heavy, maybe you roll up with the head last. If you're in a halfway position, bring the head up first just to avoid dizziness. So pressing through the feet as we inhale, lifting all the way up. Roll the shoulders back as you exhale, stepping the feet to hip distance apart, just gazing forwards and then closing the eyes. Finding Tadasana. So where does your focus drift here? Like when we were in child's pose and we're taking a little bit of time in stillness. Could be towards the soles of the feet, so keeping us steady on the ground. Or any other part of the body. Maybe you're aware of your breath, the sacral chakra. So anything, doesn't have to be any of those things, but something within your practice to keep you present. For some people, it's just a mantra, you know, just repeating that in the mind if you feel like you're kind of drifting off somewhere else. And let's start to strengthen up through our mountain pose. So lifting the toes away from the earth, feeling the balls of the feet in the heel. Spread the toes, gently placing them back down. Feeling a little lift and engagement of the kneecaps. As we round the tailbone in and under, so it feels like a little bit of a squeeze of the bum cheeks, we activate through the thighs. Lifting tall through the spine, through the back of the neck, chin parallel to the earth. Let's just soften the face. So maybe if you're clenching teeth, you just notice that. Gently part the lips. Let the shoulders be soft away from the ears. Maybe even the fingertips are soft for a moment here. Just breathing in awareness. Then gently blink the eyes open. Let's join the hands in Anjali Mudra in our prayer. Perhaps stepping the feet that little bit closer together. And finding your gaze point forward, your drishti point. So something that is unmoving that you can just focus on for balance. Let's press down our weight into that left foot. Come onto the ball of the right foot and just be mindful that we're not kicking that left hip out. So we want to feel like this real length and space through the left side of the body. Turn that right knee out. You might just place the right heel to the left ankle. You might go up the leg if you need to. You can use the hands. It's half lotus, then you could always just go for one half of a prayer. Keeping the hips forwards if you can. Soften the face and the shoulders. Just gazing forwards, breathing here in your tree pose. As we next inhale, let's draw the knee back to center. As we exhale, plant that foot down, just lean the weight into the right hand side. Find the left ball of the foot, turning that knee out, so keeping the hips forwards, finding whatever version of Vrikasana works for you on this side. Still having that focus, that gaze point forwards. Breathe in here. As we inhale, draw that knee back to center. As you exhale, step the foot down. And let's inhale, lift that prayer nice and high. Maybe look to the thumbs. As you exhale, sweep the arms wide, soften the knees, bringing the fingertips down to the ground. Take an inhale, just a little bit of a lift and lengthen. And then as you exhale, fold in the body forwards. And maybe have just a little explore here as well. So, you might like to just be still. Sometimes it's nice to just hang around. Or maybe you're just having a little bit of a sway, just inviting any type of movement. Again, if it doesn't feel right for you to drop the gaze, you can always bring the hands onto the earth or onto blocks. And still have an experiment with the back of the body, maybe just shifting the hips, but lifting the gaze forwards. And then let's soften into the knees so that we can allow the palms to touch the ground. Heel toe the feet out to hip distance apart. So we're getting ready for our Malasana, our yogi squat position. You could just kind of take a half squat here, bending the knees, resting the arms down onto the tops of the knees. Or maybe take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to sit the seat down in between the heels. So remember, you can use props if that works better for you. So you could have a sit down onto something. And you don't even have to be still here. So if it feels nicer for you to have a little bit of a sway and movement, you can use the hands on the earth. You could have more of a downward gaze, or you might feel that you want to be still, lifting the hands and taking that length through the spine, just closing the eyes perhaps. So you could still be moving. Sometimes it just requires that little bit of flow through the body rather than stillness. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then releasing all the way down to the earth. So take the hands behind you. Take a seat and find your Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of the feet together. You can take the heels really far away if you want to, or bring them inwards. If you want to, you could use blocks underneath the thighs. So if you kind of feel like that's your edge, then block out the thighs. And just take the hands wherever's comfortable for a moment as you take the spine nice and tall. Just softening the shoulders, closing the eyes. Breathe in here. And you can stay there if you wish. So sometimes that just feels quite nice. Well, there's two options for a fold. So one that's going to get more into the inner legs, into the groin, is to keep a flat back. So perhaps you reach down, take hold of something that you can. Could be the legs, doesn't have to be the feet. And we take this lift from the waist. So we're drawing the shoulders away as we inhale. Then as you exhale, you're using your feet as that implement to pull you forward. So you keep a nice flat spine, or perhaps a bit more of a yin approach. You just want to inhale, tall, and exhale, just fold the body forward. So that's still going to be working into the inner legs, but more to the spine as well, this opening out of the spine. So whatever option you prefer this morning, a bit more active, a bit more passive, or just no forward fold at all. Close the eyes maybe. And both options offer you the opportunity to work with the breath. So the inhale is that little bit of lift and space. If you're having a flat back, that lead forward of the crown of the head. And the exhale, just that softening down into space. You can always place the hands down onto the earth if you need them to help you to come up out of this slowly as you inhale, lifting yourself all the way back up. As you exhale, just rolling the shoulders back. And let's take a little twist here. So literally just turning the body slightly towards the right hand side. Try not to lean too far back. So just leaning into the fingertips, if anything, rather than the hand. Left hand on the right knee maybe. Draw that right shoulder back. As we inhale, turn the gaze, come all the way back to center. And as you exhale, just reaching behind you, place the fingertips down or hand on block. That right hand comes onto left knee or thigh. Taking an inhale. And exhale back to center. Let's come into Sukhasana here, or if you're kind of like, whoa, enough work on my hips and groin, then you can always sit on the knees. If you find it tricky to sit up straight, like the way I kind of learned to lengthen through my spine was to sit myself on a wall. So like bringing your bum right into the edge of the wall. Just finding a relaxed position. So again, you can sit on a block, you could use blocks under the thighs, like all of these things that we can use at home as well that can help with our practice. Just soften the face, close the eyes, soften the shoulders. So we're going to take 2 minutes just in our stage before meditation really. So meditation requires more of a kind of blank space and freedom. Whereas concentration is kind of what it says on the tin. So we're going to pick for us what we feel we could focus on for 2 minutes. So we've had some suggestions throughout the practice. It could be an area of your body. So, it literally could be, you could be like, I'm just going to focus on my right big toe to keep you in that state of concentration. It could be the sacral chakra. It could be a mantra. It could be your breath. The breath is quite commonly used. So anything that works for you, taking your attention there now. Keeping the spine tall, but a softness to the body as well. So keeping our mind just on our object of focus and concentration. And I'm going to leave us in silence just for the next minute and a half. No need to judge yourself if your mind slips away. Just draw it back to your concentration point. And as we next exhale, just allowing that point of focus of concentration to dissolve. Let's return back to the breath. Breathing in for the count of 6, not literally the count, so just breathing in number 6. And out 6. In 5. Out 5. Continuing with your breath yourself down to 1. And then releasing any count of breath, just gently blinking the eyes open. So if you struggle with concentration, you know, that's fine. It's like everything in the practice. It's just a work in progress. I'm going to make our way down onto our back now. So take anything with you that you might want for Shavasana. If you need a little sip of water, or if you've got a cup of tea or anything, make yourself nice and warm as well. So literally just taking cushions, blankets, whatever you feel is right for you, and come into a position that you feel is right. So I'm just going to take a short little body scan. So you could return to the position that we began in, which was just lying on the side of the body. You might want to lie on the back of the body. You might want to have the knees bent. If you are, let the knees knock in towards each other. You might want to extend the legs. So I'm just going to give you another minute to kind of get all your bits and bobs ready, and then come down. And if you need any other little bits of movement before you feel you can settle, then, you know, go for that in your practice. And settling yourself down. Closing out the eyes, so knowing you're in a safe space. We're here together, maybe not in person, but we're all in a safe space together. Just making any little adjustments to your body, your clothes, hair, the blankets. Allowing yourself to slip into that place of comfort. So coming back to where we began, just this softening back down to Mother Earth. And you can rest the hands wherever is comfortable for you. Just following my voice, or perhaps just drifting off now into Shavasana. So my voice might just be a hum in the background, and that's fine. Taking attention in our mind down to Svadhisthana, our sacral chakra. So just imagining that a couple of finger widths below the belly button, and rather than at the surface of the body, imagine it towards the center of the body, so inside the body. Just radiating with that warmth, that glow, encouraging on and off our mat elements of creativity, of feeling comfortable and okay with our sexuality, our sensuality, our desire as a human. Perhaps allowing us to be more fluid, to go with the flow. And then maybe feeling that orange glow through the tips of the toes. And through the top and the soles of the feet. The ankles, the lower upper legs. Into the bum cheeks. all the way up the spine into the shoulder blades. The shoulders and the upper arms down into the lower arms. The wrists, the back and palm of the hands, and each fingertip. Back of the neck, and the back of the head, forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose and the ears, the cheeks, lips and chin, the throat space, the upper chest, down to the lower chest, past the rib cage, towards the belly button, and resting into our sacral chakra. Maybe just feeling the groin, the hips just bathed by that energy. And then as we breathe in and out softly, just feeling that energy through the whole body. So this warm orange glow inviting the qualities, the energy of our sacral chakra, Swadhisthana. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes now, so in silence, but I'm of course still here, just to absorb anything else from our practice, maybe leave certain things behind from our practice or from our day, our week, and allow ourselves to rest physically, emotionally, perhaps even spiritually, if that's your belief. Just knowing that there's nothing else to do in these next couple of minutes. I'm going to take a well-deserved rest. If your focus is already drifting, where could you take it to keep you present? So keeping the body still, the eyes closed if you can, just for a moment longer. And of course, if you want to stay that way, then just maybe give me a little wave so I know that you're okay, but you're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana. So rest is so important. If you are moving away from your Shavasana, just starting to reconnect with your breath. So that could just be natural breath, or you might kind of have this feeling of wanting a couple of deeper breaths. Then finding connection with the body. So how does the body want to be awoken from its rest? With a stretch, a roll around, just a little wiggle. So you decide, or you and your body are deciding what feels nice for me right now, just to gently coax me back out of my Shavasana. And there's no rush, so take your time. Just drifting over onto whichever side you feel works for you. So try not to overthink it, just gently allow the body to drop onto the side. Just having a moment there. So in this really nice fetal position, this feeling of safety, of nesting down. Or maybe you want to stay there. Or perhaps you gently press your way up, soft gaze or closed eyes if you can. Come into any version of a comfortable seat that works for you. So mine's cross-legged, but please don't feel that that has to be the same for you. Just feeling the seat down into the earth, feeling that lift through the body as the crown of the head reaches up towards the vast sky. Softness of the face and the shoulders, a joining of the hands in prayer at the heart center. And as you exhale, just taking a little bow down. So a thank you to your amazing body, to your breath, to your unique mind, and of course to each other for sharing our practice this morning. And I hope you enjoyed your practice. I hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday. And I'll see you soon. The light and dark in me honors the light and dark within you. Namaste.